It's the Tony Tone Show on Vintage Sound 93.1 FM on the MPW Digital TV Celebrity Hotline. Woody Woodmansey. He was the drummer for Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. He has written a new book, Spider from Mars, My Life with David Bowie, who passed away nearly a year ago and surprised so many, shocked, saddened. So let's grab Woody on the MPW Digital TV Celebrity Hotline. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Tony. Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you. Thank you for doing this interview. I really appreciate it. So the first question I have...
pleasure, man.
Yeah, where are you calling me from? I'm always curious about that.
In the UK, in the south of England.
I love it. The connection sounds great. There's no delay. It's a beautiful thing. So let's get right to it, Woody.
The wonders of modern technology.
I was going to say, the technology's got to be good for something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that you're here. The book, Spider from Mars, My Life with Bowie, people can get at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. I guess I should say I'm sorry for the loss of David Bowie. It's almost been a year. When you found out, Woody, were you aware that he was facing some health issues, or was it a surprise to you?
I was aware of a little bit of it, not to that extent. I'd been touring with Holy Holy, a band that Tony Visconti, his producer, had put together, and we were touring. And Tony had said he's a little bit ill, and then we happened to be playing the Highline in New York on his birthday. It actually wasn't a planned thing; it just happened. Hey, do you realize that's David's birthday? Huh. And during the gig, Tony had phoned David up, and he answered and spoke to us from his flat to our stage. And we got the audience to sing Happy Birthday to him. And he said, "Oh, thank you. I really like that." Asked them what they thought of the Black Star album, which came out today. Huh. And the audience went wild.
Wow.
And he said, good luck on the tour. Speak soon. And that was the last time we spoke to him. And then we were in Toronto a day and a half later. And I was woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning, basically. There was a lot of beeps on the phone, and eventually I answered one, and it was my son ringing from England. It had just been on the news there. And it was pretty surreal, to be honest. We'd just spoken to him. We were in the middle of the tour playing his music, the fans and everything. It was just, am I hearing this right? Especially at 5 in the morning when you're half asleep.
Right.
So we had to get up and wake the band up and say what we're going to do. Are we going to continue? And Tony had said, well, he worked right to the end with Lazarus, and he was having a hard time during recording. And I remembered in the early days there'd be times when he would get really bad flu.
Sure.
On the early tours, and we'd say, shall we cancel? Because it doesn't sound like he can speak, let alone sing.
Right.
And he'd go, no. So he always had that the show must go on. So we kind of put that on it and said, okay, we should continue and treat it as a celebration of his music and life, But it was a shock, and it was a shock for all of us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it just caught everybody by surprise, and that perseverance that he had. I mean, so even when the Ziggy Stardust was happening, we're talking 69 to 73. When you're working with him, I guess, Woody, I mean, obviously you're professional, you know what you're doing, you get behind the kit, but describe for people listening how Bowie was, in the studio and then when he would get on stage, because it seemed like, there's some people that just have these qualities about them that you almost can't describe, whether it's the energy that never seems to quit, or if it's just this magic. So did you experience that while you were doing the Ziggy Stardust stuff?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of artists,
mm-hmm.
And they're good, but he did have something, people have said about him, he's not quite human,
right.
And not just because of the alien Ziggy Stardust. Mm-hmm. It was, I don't know, he was kind of a cut above for me. Whether it was songwriting, where he just had that genius ability to write a song, and if you asked 200,000 people who like that song, what is it about? You would get 200,000 different answers. Yeah. And to me, that is the sign of a great writer, which I had to find out when I first met him. Can he write? Mm-hmm. And it took one song for me to go, he can write. Can he sing? And he'd sung one song to me on 12 string. And I went, well, he's not Paul Rodgers or Roger Daltrey or Robert Plant, which is what I was used to as a musician. Mm-hmm. But he puts it across, and I get it. He has an amazing ability to impinge on your very beingness. He's talking to you,
Yep.
So these were all things kind of a cut above the rest for me. And then when he expanded it into how to present his songs, he wanted, every element that he could use. He wanted to use that in the show. So he would we'd do a bit of rehearsal, and then he would say, "Oh, we're going to see a play tonight." And we'd go, we're a rock and roll band. What do you want to go and see a play for? And he goes, I would say to him, "What's it called?" And he went, "I've no idea." So you'd look with a stunned face, and he goes, I don't care what it's about. Just watch the lighting. He said it's the best the best lighting director in London at the moment. So he would take us, and you'd watch it, how it interacted with the music when it was part of the play, or a different scene was happening, the lights would change. And he was trying to drag us onto the same page of how he's looking at it, how to present things, and then his track of mime and acting mm-hmm. and fashion that he'd always been into. All this started to be as creative as the music. So it was fascinating to watch it. It was. You didn't really know from one day to the next what was going to come out, whether it was a sketch of what he wanted you to wear,
sure,
or an idea for going on stage, or a song that he had a piano in the bedroom at the flat, and he had a guitar in the lounge, and he'd be in one or the other, and you'd hear him starting a song, and it would reverberate around the place because we didn't have a lot of money, and so there was not a lot of furniture or carpets. So you'd end up walking around cooking your breakfast, singing the chorus to "Oh You Pretty Things" or something like that before he'd finished it, And it was just amazing that he was on a roll, basically. But for me back then, everything he wrote, there were no fillers. I never kind of felt there were any fillers just to make the album up. They all meant something, They were all good songs. He just was, in truth, not quite human.
Right. Absolutely. And this is why people listening need to pick up the book, Spider from Mars, My Life with Bowie. Woody, last two questions. What kind of drums do you play? And then the outfits for Ziggy Stardust, were they custom made or did they get pieced together?
The drums I use are PDPs. They're actually I'm going to say this, they're actually a cheaper, more affordable version of DW drums.
Nice.
But for some reason, that DW were really expensive. Mm-hmm. But PDPs just have something for me. You get attached to a certain sound, and does that drum do what you want it to do when you hit it? And so that kit is one I've always I played for a long time. The outfits, we probably got a little bit of money in the beginning on top of our £7 a week to go and kind of try and go down King's Road and look like a rock band at least. And at that time it was Carnaby Street and King's Road, and you could find some good stuff. So we thought we'd kind of look like a rock band anyway, And then he would do a little sketch in his lounge. We'd be watching TV, and he'd say, "Oh, what do you think to this?" And it was a pencil drawing of some outfits. And you'd look at it and you'd think, "Oh, cool, yeah." And then carry on watching the film or whatever. And then 2 days later, you're in one of the big material shops in London, following him, Angie and David around as they dragging rolls of material off the shelves.
Wow.
And he'd be going, "What do you think to this, Woody?" And I had no clue what he was talking about. And I'd just go, "Yeah, it's nice." Were you making curtains?
Oh my God.
Mick and I would be following him around going, rock and roll, kind of taking the mickey a bit. And then he got a designer involved, a friend of his called Freddie Beretti, who was an incredible tailor, this guy. He could make a suit. It was just immaculate if he made you a suit or a jacket or anything. And so then we got into those clothes. He came one day and said, okay, these are the colors. And Trevor, I think Angie said Trevor should wear blue. There was three colors. There was a gold, a pink, and a blue. And Trevor should wear blue because he's got dark, almost black hair. And blue goes good with black. And I said, can't argue with that. That looks great. Mick's got blonde hair, so he should wear the gold one, and he's the lead guitarist. Yeah, that looks cool, And then I actually realized the only one left was pink, and it was like, oh no, not pink. And then David just said, yeah, but it takes a real man to wear pink. And I fell for it, basically. My shoulders shrugged up a bit, obviously, and I just went, yeah, well, I'll have the pink one then.
Oh, it's amazing. Woody, listen, I thank you so much for the time. I think we've run out of time, but listen, much appreciated.
Yeah, pleasure, man.
The book is Spider from Mars, My Life with Bowie. I encourage everybody listening to pick it up. All the best to you in this new year, and thank you so much for sharing the stories with us. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.